Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abayim. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Non Tes. We're in the middle of Sif Beis. Basically, the Mechaber is talking about a guy who during Shacharis, he started saying the Berchas Kriya Shema of Yotzer or Hamarav Aravim. And we learned that you need to make sure of two things. Number one, you need to make sure the main body of the bracha is Yotzer Avarechoshech, and that you conclude with Yotzer HaMa'oros. If you ruin either of the two, if either the main body is Hamarav Aravim or the conclusion is Hamarav Aravim, then you're not Yotzer. So we're up to Sivkat on Hey, where the Ramah said the same thing would be if you didn't say only Yotzer Ar, if you finished Marav Aravim Lo Yatza. Says Mishra Rak Yotzer Ar Perish V'chol Nusach Shel HaBracha. If, let's say, you said the whole nusach of Yotzer Ar, Levad Sheta B'chasima, the only thing is you made a mistake in the conclusion, Afal Pikein Lo Yatza. Nevertheless, you're not Yotzer. Dehala Beirech B'hachasima Al Ha'ar HaMaschal HaB'yam Zeh, because you did not make a bracha in the chasima on the light that begins to illuminate on this day. Okay, Sivkatan Vav. Imsiyem Hamarav Aravim. Ve'im toich kedei dibor niskar v'amar Yotzer HaMa'oros Yatza. If toich kedei dibor, you remembered, and you said Yotzer HaMa'oros, you're Yotzer. If toich kedei dibor, you remembered, and you said Yotzer HaMa'oros, you're Yotzer. You're Yotzer. In other words, you said the main body correctly. You said Yotzer Avarechoshech Hashavua Masakal. You also, the only thing is you ended off Hamarav Aravim, and Toich Kedei Dibor you fixed it by saying Yotzer Amaros Yatza Avalam Shah Achar Shamar Hamarav Aravim. In other words, like this. Let's say the guy, he said the whole bracha correctly. Yotzer Avarechoshech Oisa Shalom V'Yisakal. And the only thing is he's spacing out, and he ended off Baruch Atah Hashem Hamarav Aravim, and he looked around the shul, and one guy was shmecking tobacco, one guy was on his phone, another guy was counting the tzedakah on the pushka, another guy was, looking at the parsha sheet that they gave out from 10 years ago, and then a minute later he woke up and said, hey, Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer HaMa'oros, he's not Yotzer. He start from the beginning. That's it, he has to start from the beginning. Lo Yatza, he would not be Yotzer. V'im tav lo niskar ad shehischal avarabba. What if like this? The guy ended off incorrectly, and he started avarabba in the middle of Avinu of Harachaman Hamirachim Rachim. He said, hey, I said Baruch Atah Hashem Hamarav Aravim. What does he do now? Then lo yafsik b'nhem, we should not interrupt. Rak yisayim kaseder berchas avarabba. He should just end off in order of the bracha of avarabba. V'achar kach yomer Yotzer Ar kaidem Kriya Shema. And then he should say Yotzer Ar before Kriya Shema. Wow. So he's basically going to first say avarabba, and then he's going to say Yotzer Ar. Now, I would ask the following question on that. So basically, b'diavad, you could say the brachas out of order, right? So you'll end up saying avarabba and then Yotzer Ar. My question is like this: shouldn't avarabba begin with a baruch? Well, you say, it's samach lechaverta. It's juxtaposed to Yotzer Ar. Yeah, but that's only if you say Yotzer Ar first. But here you messed up your Yotzer Ar, so your Yotzer Ar doesn't count. So now you're allowed to do that. Basically, first say avarabba and then Yotzer Ar. Then aren't you ruining the avarabba because it's not starting with a baruch, unless it's not ma'akev? By the way, the Dirshu brings that Reb Chaim Kanievsky said that even if, let's say, you said Baruch Atah Hashem Hamarav Aravim Ahava, and you're still Toich Kedei Dibor, you're done. Says Reb Chaim Kanievsky, that's called the haschala. Like the Mishna Berura says that someone forgot Mashabrach Mar Hagashem, that once you start the word Ata Kadosh, it's considered a new, you start a new thing. Let's say a guy did not say the bracha of Yotzer before Kriyas Shema, for whatever reason. You could say it after Shemana Esrei. Or if you didn't say Ahava Rabbah, for whatever reason, for Shemana Esrei, you could say it before. If you didn't say it before Shema, you could say it after davening. That's what Rav Moshe paskins. Okay. The Mechaber ends off, Avalam Siyem Yotzer HaMa'oros. If you ended off Yotzer HaMa'oros, Kivan Shepasach Yotzer Ar, Yatsa Afal Pi Shivsik V'Marav Aravim. Basically like this. If a guy concluded correctly, he started correctly, even though in the interim he started saying Nusach of the Marav, you're Yotze. So the Mishna Berura very kindly gives us a synopsis of this sif. Yatsa, says the Mishna Berura of Katan Ches, Tamtze Zeh HaSifu. Here is the executive summary. The Shnei Dvarim Yesher Berchas Yotzer Ar the Shachas Likuva. There are two things that are ma'akiv. Number one, Psichas HaBracha, the opening of the bracha. Ayam Tziyasa, or the middle, Tzricha Liyas Kadin, the beginning and the middle. By the way, Reb Shlomo Zalman says, what if a person skipped the Kedusha of Yotzer Ar? He says, you're Yotzei, it's a Tosefes, it's not the Ikar HaBracha. The Ikar HaBracha is to thank Hashem for the light, and Beis, the second thing we need is Chasimas HaBracha. V'dadu adim berchas marav aravim. You should know the same thing would be by Marav. The Arvis kamavar bebrachas yud beis amud aleph ayin sham. So you want to make sure you start correctly, the middle you say, and you end correctly. And the Mechaber says you're Yotze if you finish Yotzer HaMa'oros, since you started with Yotzer Ar, if you're mafsik b'marav aravim. Toch kedei dibor shel psichas Yotzer Ar. V'amar kol Hanusach the Arvis Levada Chasim Afal Pikein Lo Yamrin Sheneka Yideze Hatevos Harishana Shel Yotzer Ar. Like this, even if a guy said Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Yotzer Ar Uvarei Choshech Oiseh Shalom Uvaras Hakol Asher B'varoi Ma'arav Aravim. So Toch Kedei Dibur, you might say, okay, he's Oiker the Haschala. No, we don't say he's Oiker the Haschala, but rather it is okay. Siv Gimel. Ready for Sif Gimel? Let's begin. Yesh Oimrim, some say, She HaKedusha Shebeyoytzer Yachid Oimra Lefi She'ena Elasipur Dvarim. Some say the Kedusha of Yotzer, an individual could say it, because it's just a story. What's the story? You're saying a story of what the Malachim say. V'yesh Oimrim She Yachid Medalga. Some say that an individual skips it. Ve'ena Ne'emeres Ela B'tzibor. And it could only be said B'tzibor. Some say that a yachid skips it, and it's only said B'tzibor. V'yesh lachash l'devrayim. You should be chayshish for it. That if you're davening b'yichidus, you have to be concerned, maybe you shouldn't be saying it. Therefore, if you're not davening with a minyan, you should be zahir to lane the psukim. Otherwise, it's a shaila if you're allowed to say it. Okay, so we have a machlokes. The opinion of the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yoina in the name of the Rabbanei Tzarfas and the Rosh and the Rambam, they say you're allowed to say the psukim, the Kedusha of Yotzer. It's only a sipur ba'alma. But some say, now the first Yesh Omrim is the Tshuvas HaRambam. The second Yesh Omrim is that you have to skip it. Who is that? That's the Rambam himself in Hilchos Tefillah, and the Rajban, Rabbi Yerucham, and the Manhig, and others. The Rajba therefore says you should be choishes and say it benigunim. The Rajban, the Tshuvas Hadeshan. Hagoch var pasha menkes var rishayna. The Rama says the minhag has spread like the first daya, that a yachid could say it. V'yachid oimer isa. When you answer this Kedusha, you answer it out loud. Says the Mishna Berura, Medalga. So what should you say? Should you skip the whole pasuk? Rak yoimer. You say Kulam mahuvim kulam barum kulam gimachos may every song of kulam paisim sim Kedusha v'tar b'shav zimram v'varachim b'shav farim v'asim magishim mamlichim Hashem hakel hamelach hagdal v'kadosh v'kulam kamlam malei malach Hashem zam sim mishus salsa lahaktish siyos v'nachzov b'sav v'rumnim Kedusha kulam chad oinim v'oimrim b'yira kadosh. According to the second daya, you just say the word kadosh. Baruch. Kasam pri chadash afilim hayu yachid mispal levadoy b'shvil she'echad lavoi kivan de'ikat tzibur omer afil belachash l'kol yama. If you came late and there's a minyan in the shul, you're just not davening with them, everyone agrees you could say the psukim. The minog is we are mekel regarding this, and you could say the psukim ubir agra hiskam halacha l'dei ha'achroina. The Gra says no, that if you're davening by yourself, you cannot say it. Yeah, but the Rama says the minog is to say it. Well, the correct thing to do is if you're davening b'yichidos, you should lay in the psukim. So we're not going to move from the minog. We're going to say it, but because in deference to the Gra, who says the minog is not like the Rama, the minog is like the De'ah ha'achroina, Nachen lahader to say benigun uta'amim k'kari psukim. Okay, Rabbi Sai. You know what? Let's finish off Siv Gimel. Uchsha'oinen. When you answer Kedusha, you say it b'kol ram. U'kedusha zu im efshar toiv lemar miyushav. This Kedusha, you should be sitting down. So if you find yourself, you're a guy you like to pace. Some people, they like to pace. Pal, have a seat. You should be sitting for Kedusha the Sidra. Now let's say you're in the middle of Psuke de Zimra and you hear a tzibur saying Kedusha of Yotzer. You're not allowed to answer. You do not answer in the middle of Psuke de Zimra to this Kedusha. That's what the Minchas Yitzchak writes. Now it's very interesting that the Mishna Berura says it's correct that if you're davening b'yichidos to say it benigun uta'amim k'kari psukim. Rav Moshe writes you don't have to use the regular trap. If you have a nigun that you learn with, you're allowed to say it in that nigun, because the ikar inyan is that kedusha you can only say with a minyan. So you want to show you're not saying Kedusha, you're learning. So you could say it in your learning nigun. Question. A guy's in the middle of Psukkah de Zimra. He's not worried. He feels he'll be able to start Shemana Esrei with the tzibur. But he wants to know, should he skip to be able to say this Kedusha with the tzibur? Reb Chaim Kanievsky says no. No, it's not a reason to skip. Okay, b'kol ram out loud. Dafka b'tzibur, you say it b'kol ram. Aval b'yachid, when you're saying the kedusha, b'yechidos omer b'lachash, you say it quietly. Ken kasav el yerabba. Aval b'shari tshuva kasav she'en kapeda. Af b'yachid im yomer b'kol ram. The Shari Tshuva says there's no kapeda, even a yachid, to say it b'kol ram. Rabbi Isai, have a great day. Have a good day.
Rabbi Glatstein,
Yeah.
why do you have to sit? Why is it needed to be sitting by the Kodesh? Why should you look at him and do it sitting?
Al pi Kabbalah. The Ber Heitev brings from the Sefer Hakana Al pi Kabbalah. Okay, Hatzlacha.